Hello, guys. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm great. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So, everybody, welcome to Philarsande Careers. This is where we talk everything careers. And today, firstly, I just want to thank you all for your subscriptions. I see that the numbers are growing. Thank you so much for liking the video, for sharing it with your friends. If you are new, welcome to our channel. We just have like random conversations with each other, and it's chilled. It's on a Friday. Just to encourage people and stuff. If you know that there's people that can benefit from this, please share, encourage them to like, encourage them to hit the notification bell so that they can get more of these videos as they come. Guys, today, this is not Photoshop. This is not it's not magic.
Ah,
I am
listen to you.
twins. They are one of my favorite people in the entire world. I think actually they are you guys the only pair I know? No, you're not. My dad was a twin, but yeah. Anyway, whatever. That's
Aw, that's
side
cute.
note. But guys, I'm featuring Sinethemba and Siyabonga Hlengetwa. Welcome to you, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Thank you. We are amazing. We are glad to be here. Thanks
Yep.
for the opportunity to engage.
Yeah.
Excited.
Excited. I'm excited as well, guys. I think let's just go right into it. You guys have amazing things that you are doing, and I was excited and thrilled. All these,
Adjectives.
yeah,
Yeah.
and everything else when you agreed to actually have this conversation with me because of this great work that you guys do, especially in the music industry. But I think before we get
Right.
into that, let's just start just finding out about you guys. Where are you from, and how was like your upbringing? Were people confused by how you look so
Of course we were.
I mean, I'm tempted to test you. Who's Sinethemba? Who's Siyabonga?
You are
What do you say?
no, you guys. The one doesn't have hair and the other one has hair.
Oh my God, imagine.
All right. So I'm Siyabonga, like you said, Siyabonga Hlengetwa. This is my twin brother, Sinethemba Hlengetwa. We are from Davidton, Evuta in the East Rand. We've been living here for all our lives, quite frankly. Our family is originally from Swaziland,
Okay.
Mbabane, but obviously we are 100% Joburgers. We
Right.
speak
East
only like
Rand.
5% Swazi. Yeah,
Yeah,
East
East
Rand.
Rand was one
Actually,
way.
we speak like 5% Swazi, so we don't necessarily qualify. Yeah, and we are devout Christians. We are followers of Jesus Christ. That's important to mention. And what else can I say? I mean, we are. I don't know. Like a lot of times, twins don't quite get along, but we get along a lot.
A lot. It's shocking. And
Yeah,
it's scary sometimes.
and we happen to be in the same industry as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's fantastic, guys. And how was your like upbringing? Besides your 5% knowledge of Swati, and majority of the time here in Joburg.
so yeah, I mean our upbringing was I don't want to say typical, but it was chilled. It was like,
I see.
almost your typical Gasi growing up in the hood, big family, big family. You know how it is.
Okay.
Big family, small house. We grew up in a 4-room house at first. Then we moved to a bigger house, back to the small house, and then, right, and back, and then now to a bigger one again. But, just been like that. Grew up in church. Our mom is a staunch believer, so we grew up in church. We brought up in church. Our love for music started in church. Our love for what we do started in church, and then it developed into what it is now. But that's pretty much how we grew up, and our big family turned into a very small family, and that's what we love. We love it like that now. The smaller the crowd, the better.
Always, right? Always.
Always,
Yeah.
always.
Any other
Yeah.
siblings, or is it just you with your mom?
Yeah, we do. We do. So we have an elder sister, and then we also have a younger brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sheesh. And how
Yeah.
are they fine? Are you guys not the only like tech team the whole time, and then they have to like do stuff by themselves, and or do you
No,
all
oh, not even, not even. So how it is, right? Is that our sister, we share a mom and a dad, so
okay.
we all grew up together,
Okay.
right? And she's like the third twin.
Okay.
We're like
Yeah,
triplets,
practically, yeah.
practically the third. Yeah, right? And so our younger brother is from my dad's side.
Okay.
We don't particularly have like a relationship with him as yet, but we definitely will at some point.
Yeah.
Love the boy,
Yeah,
amazing. He looks. If you guys think I look like Sia, that boy looks exactly like Sia.
Yeah, it's the light skinned version of me. So
Like it's insane.
Yuriko is good looking.
Yeah, so that's it. That's family.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. So your music, your love for music, are you saying it was predominantly based in church, or your big family? Was there any music gene in the family and stuff?
All right. So that's actually a great question. So we grew up in a relatively musical family, right? In that our mother had been in the church choir, had been in the community acting scene and all that stuff, and in the community choir as well. She's still very much involved
Wow.
in terms of her singing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then our dad, in fact, sorry about that. So yeah, in fact, our dad had an organ at home when they were growing up. So apparently he used to play a bit as well.
Fiddle, yeah.
Yeah, he used to fiddle. I don't think he knew much, but like at least like the understanding of just the general music thing was there. And so with us, it was obviously concentrated. We are extremely musical, you know. Our sister as well, she's quite musical too, you know.
Yeah.
She understands how music should sound. She can tell you when something is wrong. She can tell you when you're playing nonsense.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then so from that, growing up, I remember I think we must have been like 5 or 6 years old. Our mother brought a toy like keyboard, you know, those little toy keyboards that kids get. She brought us one of those. And I kid you not, it must have been like a week or less. We're already playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. We're already playing like nursery rhymes on that thing, you know, figured out. So it was only on C major. We didn't know that at the time, but we'd figure out the melodies and songs that didn't have the notes, like those accidentals, like different semitones or whatever that weren't there, we'd not play because we'd hear that. No, but it's not sounding right.
Not
Something's not there. So the black notes aren't there. What's happening with this piano, you know? So growing up then, so our mother then became very aware of the fact that we are musical. In fact, she then was the one that encouraged us to start learning instruments at church. And on top of that, she insisted that we go to an art school for high school, right? Because we're also very academic. We were actually those kids that every year prize giving, we are the top learners.
We're sweeping everything.
Together.
So that was our focus, and that's where, literally together. So that's where we thought we'd go.
Sure.
Yeah, but then she sent us to art school, which then fueled everything extremely.
Right.
So from there, we started playing for orchestras. We started,
Wow. Yo, so it's been in the blood. The whole hearing.
It's been a thing.
You could hear like that there was notes missing and stuff. It's actually quite. Because I grew up, my dad is a bass player, like he's been.
I know.
So I know. Also, tell me to sing though. I will not sing for you. I cannot play an instrument. I practiced. I try to learn as far as the C scale and stuff, and that was that because it was just too much work. So I have such utmost respect for people who play instrument because the thinking, it's just too much. I was already thinking of myself as like a famous person on stage, you know, playing, and people are screaming.
Yeah.
Next thing when I'm done, you know. Of learning the instrument, I just didn't have it. So I am particularly intrigued by how you guys don't only know one instrument, you know. How many instruments do you each know? Because I know at some points then I used to be confused when you both played the saxophone. There I was very confused.
Right.
But then when
that's like
plays, you know, then the other one plays keyboard, then I can tell, no, that's the one that plays keyboard. This one is the one that plays the bass. But how many exactly instruments that you each play?
So honestly, we've fiddled with a lot of instruments.
Really?
Like when I say a lot, like a whole lot. You know, going to an art school, you get introduced to everything. Like everything is right in front of you, right? So we tried. I used to play the drums when I started. I played the drums. He tried the bass. Then we both went to saxophone. No, before going to saxophone, we tried the trumpet. We tried the oboe. We tried the flute. We tried the double bass. We tried the cello, clarinet. What?
You were still teenagers then.
Yeah. It was I mean, we were still babies there,
It's
man.
hectic.
But we're just but we just wanted to try everything out. We tried everything we possibly can until we both landed on the saxophone. Then it was like, okay, this
is home.
This feels like home, right? Then it was home for a while. Then I went to the piano while I'm doing the saxophone.
Okay.
Then Sia went to bass, right? Went back to bass, and he just never came back.
Yeah.
Right. So I just kept, the piano and the saxophone. Then he just went straight bass, and that was it for him.
Master.
The groove.
Absolutely.
Listen. You better know.
Better recognize.
Sure. And then you guys got to get the opportunity. I think we need to just talk about the role that churches play. I think if I had a crowd right now, I'd ask them to just clap hands, because I think we take for granted the role that churches play, the airplay that churches play.
Sure.
How much of that did it influence your guys' profession?
All right. So I think I want to start here. So in high school, we start playing for the East Rand Youth Orchestra, right? Start doing tours with them, reading charts and that stuff. But our appreciation for music went beyond reading the charts. Right. It was very much tied to emotion, very much tied to self-interpretation and self-realization and self-expression. And so then we started playing at church. We got the opportunity to start playing at church. We got invited to. In which case then I think it was must have been 2019, 2020, where we started going in full-time at church.
Okay.
Playing full-time at church, both on saxophone. And that's where most of the learning actually began, in terms of being able to express yourself fully on your instrument.
Wow.
And not to say that classical music doesn't do that. For some people it does, but for us specifically, playing gospel music, playing music that communicates what we're about, almost entirely, made it that much easier for us to find our feet, to find our place in the industry and the market,
to find our voice.
And to find our voice as well, absolutely.
Guys,
so our time at church pretty much shaped our entire career. It informed who we'd be in the years to come.
What? You said, did you say 2019, or you wanted to say 2009?
No, 2009.
2009 rather. 2009 rather. That's what I meant, yeah.
Because I was going to say, by the time we knew you guys and we asked you to come and play at our wedding, which was 2015, you were already doing amazing things.
Yeah.
I like that, oh my goodness, it shaped you. Do you think it was connected to your belief, the fact that you're Christians? Do you think it had a lot to do with that, or was it something else?
Absolutely it did. So like I said, so when you play an instrument, right, you're singing, and when you're singing, you're portraying a message, you're relaying a message, you're saying something.
Absolutely.
Right. And so what it is you're saying is what's happening in your heart, right, which is where belief resides. Right. So what you believe is what you spew out when you touch your instrument.
Definitely.
Okay.
So that's where the whole thing of our faith tying quite directly with our music comes in, because if we're not devout Christians as we are, we'd probably be playing music that speaks to whatever we believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's all connected to what you believe. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
It's definitely connected.
Sure. Ooh, guys, I'm getting goosebumps. It's so exciting. What would you say, on that note, has been your biggest challenge, though, with regards to the music industry specifically? And I'm asking this so that we can encourage somebody that's currently learning and thinking that, oh my gosh, everything is going to go 100 as soon as they pop into the industry. Just for them to know and to be aware, what would you say is the biggest challenge?
Right. So I think I want to answer the question like this, right? I feel like every step of your learning journey, your growth process of music has its own challenges. And they're quite big, like they're all big, you know what I mean? Because they directly influence even your love for what you do, right? Because when you're starting, the biggest challenge is discipline. The
You?
biggest challenge is knowing how to shut everything out and say, I'm going to practice for hours on end every day,
Mhm.
right? That for us was a huge challenge when we started, especially because we also had a very great love and respect for books because
Okay.
we're academic,
Yeah.
right? So knowing how to balance the academics and the music,
Yeah.
right? That was a huge challenge until we decided that, you know what, music is what we're going to do because this feels more like a calling,
Yeah.
right? And then it became easier for us to dedicate time and a lot more time every day, right? And after that, what then became the next challenge was trying to get into the industry, right? That was a bit,
Yeah,
that was
that's
huge,
a big, that's a big.
but and because of our faith, right? It was a challenge, but we didn't see it as a challenge at the time. We look back now and say, actually, there was a few struggles, right?
Yeah.
But because God was directing our steps and He was pretty much showing, God opened doors for us that we didn't deserve
And we
to
weren't
enter
ready
into.
for it in
Right. A
retrospect.
lot of times God put us in
Ooh.
situations where we actually were not ready, right? But because we already started practicing and we had perfected the step of discipline and practicing every day, you know, we're not ready, but we had the tools that could help us get ready fast.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know what I mean?
Okay.
Which really helped. And then, so we I eventually started getting recognized, and it's a very gate kept industry, right? There are a
Mhm.
lot of gatekeepers in the industry.
Yeah.
I won't lie to you, there are a
Yeah.
lot, right?
Yeah.
But you have to trust the voice that's in you. Trust that voice that spoke to you and said, this is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that thing is what will keep you going. Remember where you started. And you eventually people will want to listen to you. Eventually you'll get those ears that want to hear what you specifically have to offer in the industry. So
Okay.
that was the next challenge, right?
Yeah.
Getting into the industry.
Yes.
And then what would be the next challenge from there, is looking at yourself as a business
Right.
once you're in the industry,
Right.
um, which is a massive thing that a lot of creatives still struggle with. People
True.
who've been in the industry for a while still struggle with seeing themselves as a business and treating themselves as a business.
True.
Understanding that you need to have a team around you, depending obviously on what level you want to play at. For instance, if you want to be an artist one day, if you want to be a manager one day, if you want to be a production manager, if you want to be a producer,
Right.
and you need a team around you that'll help you build this thing that you're going to call your brand, right?
True.
So the next challenge was having to learn, to think of yourself as a business. So obviously, in the first instance, you make mistakes, you squander money, it's tough, right?
Great.
um yeah, it gets very tricky, but you learn it. Over time, you realize your mistakes. You realize that no, I'm stuck in the ruts here. I'm in a cycle that's not building what I'm trying to accomplish.
Right.
Right. So then you overcome that challenge by exposing yourself to more knowledge, exposing yourself to people that have done this before, sharing with other musicians what they're doing right, what mistakes they've done,
Right.
and obviously building a very close circle of people that you can trust with those specific challenges as well, where they can assist you to get to a place where you can function as a business. Sometimes to the extent where I don't have to be there physically for my brand to be generating money and growing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah,
Sure. Yeah,
yeah,
no, thank you so much for that. It's quite enlightening, and it's almost like you've described like life cycle of a musician You know, it starts with
Right. Pretty much.
Yeah.
inside. Yeah. It starts with what you have on the inside and then perfecting that. And perfecting that requires a lot of discipline. Because honestly, guys, we can't sit and dream and pray to God and ask that He gives us the skill to play bass. And then you're not even putting in the effort, you know. So there's that, which is quite
Absolutely, yeah.
important. You have to take seriously. Like, I mean, I think I once read something that says you must be prepared for what you prayed for. So that for me was
True.
exactly that, you know. And then the next step
Yes,
is that
ma'am.
now you need to get in. And how do you get in? It's quite difficult. I like that you didn't shy away from that. It actually is quite difficult because, like, there's great players out there. You're not the only one that's amazing. You know, you're not the only one that's great, especially in the Eastern. Like, I don't know much about other like regions, but in the Eastern, we have a plethora of talents regarding
Yeah, we
music.
do.
And it's
We do.
like you have to really stick out, you have to stand out, you know. So I like that. And then the whole business aspect that speaks to, for me, as you were describing the business, I was thinking of how you need to be humble. Like, if you're thinking you've arrived and you are like
Ah,
is in the business, it's not going to work for you, because you're not going to be welcomed by the relevant people that need to help shape that business aspect
right.
that you're trying to build.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
organized. And I suppose there is a difference between somebody who's just going to be, how do I want to put it? Are you building wealth? Are you building an empire? Or are you just an artist? Because there's a difference,
Right.
right? Understanding
Right.
the business element creates that empire for you. It creates that longevity, and you know, your kids later on, they can take over. They can, you know. But if you're just an artist, and let's say your hands are finished, you can't play anymore. That's that with you, you know. And
That's
I
that.
feel like a lot of people are thinking like that. So I think maybe let's just spend time on that business aspect. How do we need to go to school
Correct.
for it? Is it people that we can just go to and reach out to and just speak to them? How do you identify also a person that's seeing the artist as business versus the one that's
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. Now that's actually a great question, because how we learned how to become and treat our craft as a business was rather unconventional, you know. It wasn't formal. We didn't go to school for that, even though we went to an art school. Sadly, it wasn't taught. You're not taught music business,
Right.
right? Um, so you're taught theory, you're taught all of that stuff, but you're not taught how to run yourself as a business. So, like I had said earlier, it's about exposing yourself to people that have done this before, right? So one example I can give you, who's a person that I personally take a lot of advice from, you know, because not only is she financially savvy, but she actually is quite great in terms of managing her own admin, making sure she's professional all the time and all that stuff. And she's an amazing artist to work with as well, and that's Lyra. You know, she always pours into us, you know. She's always ready to give advice. She's always, and so she was one of the first people that said to me, in fact, I think it was, must have been around 2018 17.
okay.
Yeah, end of 2018 17, thereabouts. She sat me down. She was like, okay, look, we're doing some dope gigs. The money is coming in. I can see you're always dripping, the freshest sneakers, the basketball vests. You
Hey,
look like Kobe every day, the chains
The
and everything.
chain. You know.
You're tripping. That's great. But how much did you make this entire year? And I couldn't answer that.
wow.
And
Actually,
you would think it's a very simple question to answer, right? You should know how much you've made this year. And then she's like, okay, leave this past year. How much have you made rather this past quarter? I couldn't answer that either. It
wow.
was an embarrassing yet eye-opening and enlightening moment,
Right.
right? And the best takeaway is, okay, if I'm really a business, I need to start thinking of my finances like a business
Like a
as well,
business.
Truth.
you know.
Yeah.
And even at the time, I wasn't even accounting for tax. We weren't, in fact, as a business. We weren't
Sadly.
accounting, like, we were bad. We were really bad. But obviously then, from there, then we started changing things. And then not only her, but we started engaging other professionals who are
Right.
not in the industry, because that's also important to know what other people are doing. Like
Right.
we have friends that are accountants, we have friends that are business people that we engage in terms of how they manage their businesses, so that you have sort of a comprehensive approach, because
Right.
oftentimes our clients are not musicians. The promoters that book us are not musicians, right? They are accountants, they are doctors and whatever, and they have their own way of working.
Sure.
And they understand quote unquote professionalism within the prism and the context of what they do every day. So that's why, as a business person, it's great also to understand your client and how they generally do stuff, right? So basically, to answer your question in short, then would be to say that expose yourself to people that have done this before, right? And learn from other people's mistakes. See what other people have done. So every time we saw an article, this and this artist has passed on, and we need to donate money, that's those situations are eye-opening. You need to look at those and say, I can't be that guy. You know, and even though we love music, you have to think, do I want to be 50 and chasing gigs? Do I want to be 50 and getting per diem, right? And getting rehearsal fee, right? You know, no. So when you're starting, you need to be mindful of where you're trying to take yourself as a business.
Sure.
Which is where you then go to a place, like I said, where sometimes we don't have to be at places and we're making money and the business is growing, it's reaching people, it's being spoken about in rooms we're not in, right? Which is a great place to be, right? And even though obviously we're still building, we're mindful of where the vision is going.
Yeah.
But having started to think of ourselves as a business has helped sort of catapult us into that growth trajectory that's really hard to stop, quite frankly.
Guys, yo.
Yeah.
Sinethemba, do you have something to add? I feel like your brother is the one that talks a lot here. Do you?
He's going in, right? He's going in. But it's all right. It's all right.
Such deep things, and then now I can't even come out and ask another question. So this is me taking a break. This is me taking a break and asking you to add.
Right. Wow. Okay, so my brother's very right. Unfortunately, I don't know about other countries, right? But in South Africa, financial literacy is not a thing. You know, especially in the school system, and that's a huge misfortune, because whatever profession you get into, the one thing that we all are going to deal with is money.
Absolutely.
Right? We're all going to deal with money. And so financial literacy is very important. It's extremely important. You need to know how to handle your money. More than just handling your money, you need to know how to make the money you work for start working for you. Right? And that's where we are now. And we have to mention this because of COVID-19, and what happened last year with that very heavy lockdown.
Yeah.
I mean, our industry is one of those industries that were completely shut.
Proper, yeah.
Like completely shut.
And it's barely open still.
I mean, it's, you know, people are barely making ends meet even now. You know what I mean? So a lot of people have had to look at themselves again, like he's saying, like a business, right? And saying, actually, how I've been doing things is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. What if I don't make a lot of money anymore? What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Right? So I need to find ways to diversify. So we have found ways to diversify our business. So we're not only just in entertainment anymore. Right? Actually, we're in entertainment, but our money is not in entertainment.
Yeah.
Our money works somewhere else now. You know what I mean? So while we're working here, our money is out there working on other things, right? And it increases itself. You know, so that's how. So a lot we've literally had to shift how we run the business and how we run our careers as businessmen, right? And it's been very rewarding so far. You know, now we're not looking flashy anymore. We try. I mean, come on. We try, but that's not a priority anymore. Looking like you have money, looking like looking like you have money, looking like you're busy, looking like is not a priority anymore. You know, it's not being. It really isn't being. So now we're more focused on being, right? And like the Bible says, right? An honorable man is an inheritance for 3 generations. Right? I mean, she already has 2 kids. You know
Hey,
what I mean?
hey, daddy.
So come on, she said daddy. She said daddy. you know, but so that's where we are now. Like we have to think about our kids. We have to think about our kids' kids and their kids. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? How does what we do right now help them? Now, how does me buying a Jordan now help my kids' kids? It's not that buying a Jordan is wrong. Definitely go buy your Jordans. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Definitely go buy a fancy car. Definitely go do it. As long as you've set it up in a way that there's still enough left for those that are coming. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's different kinds of income. You know, there's the story about the streams of income, different streams of income, and I mean, and earning passive income. There are ways to do that. There are ways for your money to work for you. So you stop working for your money. Number two, you can maintain your lifestyle without affecting those that are coming.
Yeah.
And that's just where we are right now.
Sure, guys. No, I just want to thank God for your lives, man, because that's like some strong advice, not only for people in the music industry, but just in general. I
Yeah.
cannot tell you how many times, because like I'm in an accounting industry and running my own consulting.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And most business owners, like especially small businesses, financial literacy is zero, you know. And when they are happy just getting that contract and working and servicing the contract, and then they get money, but the way they spend their money, it's very haphazard, and they don't really, at the end of the day, when you
Right.
show them how they performed throughout the year, they don't really understand, they don't really see, and you show them
Sure.
that, look, your turnover is over 1 million, but you have a bank account balance at the end of the year of 3,000 rands. How does that even make sense?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
When you didn't even
Yeah.
invest in your
Yeah.
business. So financial literacy is actually one of the most crucial things that I agree we need it in
Yeah.
schools, and we don't learn it in schools. And people don't
Mhm.
think it's a thing. They don't think it's a thing. And then they want to hire
They don't.
accountants
Yeah.
to come work for them and do stuff for them. Then they don't want to pay accountants because they don't understand why
Yeah.
Right.
so much.
Right.
So I like
Yeah.
I like the vision thing. I like that, think about a vision, think about ways on how to make your money work for you rather than working for money.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially in the music
Yeah.
industry, a lot of young people get stuck in, I need to be great so that I can get a gig, so that I can get paid, so that I can do whatever that I need to do. But if you actually think
Yes.
beyond that, it actually can be a great thing for you. So I really
Yes.
hope,
Absolutely.
guys, I hope that somebody out there will, like, will be very enlightened and will think of themselves and
Yeah.
take themselves differently and seriously. But also, if I were to ask it practically, how does your career, thinking of it as a business, look like? What does it mean? What does one need to do? You're an artist, you play bass and stuff. What does it mean to see it as a business?
So I saw a video once, right? I think it was Sinethemba,
Okay.
and it was explaining the difference between an entrepreneur and someone who's self-employed, right? That clip changed my life completely. You know what I mean? Because what he was saying was this: was saying, so someone who's self-employed, for the most part, is someone who uses their business or the funds that they get through doing what they do to maintain their lifestyle, right? So there's no difference between them and the business. It's one thing, and
Mm.
so there's no distinction. It's just one big bubble of making and spending money,
Yeah.
and living, honestly, living hand to hand, living check to check, right? Whereas someone who's an entrepreneur, the business account can have 1 million rands, but their personal account can have only 5,000 rands, right? And so they're not driving a fancy car, they may not be living in a fancy house, but the business is making money, and the business is a beast on its own, and it's separated from the person themselves. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the mentality that we've had to apply, where our personal lives have to step aside from our professional lives. So professionally, I'm a musician, right? And I'm a musician. We're building all these things that we do in the industry,
Yeah.
right? Now we manage artists. Now we do event management. Now we do production. We do all kinds of things. Honestly, all kinds of things, right? And those things make their own money, and then the business then pays us a salary.
Yeah.
right? So all the money we make is not our money.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is not our money. The money that comes to us then after we've sorted our overheads and left the money in the business, and the business pays us a salary or pays us whatever we agree on. You know what I mean? And you don't have to stress yourself too hard when you start. But you learn. Start by getting paid in your business account instead of your personal account.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, when you take gigs, get paid in your business account. If you can, invoice, right? Start doing invoicing. Start getting, start being formal with what you're doing, right? And then treat yourself as an employee of your business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So now you're a musician that appears on behalf of the business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the business, you know how much you're making, and then you pay yourself, enough to sort out the basics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then again, you know your lifestyle, you know what you want to do, what you want to build.
Yeah.
But for us, the difference has been separating ourselves from the business and saying, when we go on stage, we're appearing on behalf of the business,
Okay.
and then we pay the everyone pays the business pays us,
Okay. Okay.
which was very instrumental.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So you've had to register a business separately, and then
Yep.
Yep.
like you consulting, and then you get paid for the work that you,
Yeah.
the services that you render. Because just because you're a director of a
In a
company does not
nutshell, yeah.
mean you're an employee of the company. Okay. And then you have to think of all the SARS things and UIF.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But no, thank you guys. Thank you for answering that. And then in terms of how important is it to build relationships in the music industry?
Yo. That's a great question, because you cannot make it in the industry without relationship. This is the one industry where you cannot be an island.
Okay.
You can't. You can't. Um, I'll give you a practical example in terms of how I ended up being a full-time bass player, right? Just so you get to see how important it is to have people around you that will invest in what you do. Playing a church, I hear Dumelo, your husband, right? He's amazing. He's literally one of my biggest inspirations, and he's the reason why I play at the level I play, because he exposed me to what's possible, what's possible. And then I get my first I get my first international gig. I was going to Mozambique,
Wow.
right? As a young bass player, my guitar wasn't great. I knew that it wouldn't be good enough for me to fly the South African flag. I would have embarrassed the country. I called Dumelo, yo, bro, this is what's happening. Can you help me out? He gives me his guitar, right? Relationship. Literally. He gives me his guitar. I travel, kill the gig, come back.
You never told me that he's
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah,
Now you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Let's not get involved in domestic affairs. Yeah, so that happens, and then fast forward, we continue playing for some artists, and how we get to play with those is that Spio Magic Hands, one of our good brothers in the industry and just a personal friend, he got a break into the industry, and then he roped us in to do some of the stuff that he was a part of. And then he invited me to a studio session once that he was doing. I wasn't going to work. He was like, bro, let me park my car at your place. Let's ride together. Let's go to the session. I get there. It's some amazing musicians that we only see on TV, right? Now I'm starstruck. And then they're like, hey, actually, what do you play, bro? I'm like, no, I play bass. And they're like, and there's a song that needs plays. Come, bring a guitar. Luckily, I had it with me in the car. I get in, I play, kill the session, right? Immediately, the guy calls another client of his that he was doing an event for that weekend. He says, yo, man, please fire the guitarist that you'd hired. I have another guy here, and he's insane. Now I'm on the road with that artist, and me and that artist are now great friends. He's even my pastor now. He's just become such a great mentor and a person I look up to as well, in terms of the business of music and obviously spirituality as well. But then on top of that, And then from that one gig, I met the pianist who was playing that gig, and then I end up getting introduced to other, and so that's why it's important to be in rooms, go to jam sessions, go to people's rehearsals if you can make it there. DM people on Facebook, post stuff in the socials, travel, spend your money, invest in your craft, be seen, because out of sight really is out of mind, right? So, and also be intentional about the types of relationships that you're building, So obviously make sure that you associate yourself with people that will build and sort of grow what you are trying to do, you understand? Because you must be able to tell the difference between someone who's going to come in and help you and someone who's only there to withdraw, you know what I mean?
Right.
People who are there to use you because it's there. And also watching out in terms of not associating with people that are of bad character, because it does corrupt good character. And not just character in terms of who you are as a person, but also how you run your business as well.
Yeah.
How you run your affair, your professional affairs. There are people that can throw you entirely wayward, right? But relationships are the substratum on which you're gonna build your career as a musician. There's absolutely no ways around it.
Honestly, your network is your net worth.
Ooh, but whom quotables?
Come on, Chappie's rapper, what do you say?
Come on.
Did you know?
Pampa speaker lifestyle.
Keep them coming. I like that. I like that. And I think more than anything, I also just wanted to make mention of the artists that you guys play for, them giving you the platform. I think they also deserve like a round of applause because
definitely.
they can just stick to the normal or like to the old people that have been in the industry.
Yeah, right.
All the guys that have been playing previously. But I think Sinethemba, you're the one that's playing for Babu Benjamin Dube. That's like a hectic. That's a hectic artist. Like he's like all the way up there, and for him to choose to trust, for him to choose to trust. Sure, when you started, you weren't like so famous at that time and stuff, but for them to trust you and Lyra for yourself, Siyabonga, to trust you and to put you in their space and to believe in you so much, I think they are also playing quite a great role. How has that impacted where you are right now?
So honestly, we have to, and we could never give enough credit to those people. How I look at it is this: when an artist books musicians, they're literally trusting them with their life.
Yeah.
Whether or not my work is going to sound good is dependent on the hands that get involved in making the music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for these, and a lot of times, like I said, our growth in music has been a journey of faith. And the God hand has been involved in so many cases where, when I started playing for like Benjamin Dube, Simpiwe, some of the biggest stuff that I've done, honestly, a lot of people would have said I'm not ready, right? A lot of people would have even advised the artist to say, "Hey, man, don't take the chance. No one knows him. You've never heard him play anywhere. How are you gonna let him get on stage with you?" You know what I mean? But then again, a lot of times you as a musician, you have to come in and literally work physically the chemistry and build the relationship with the artist and build the trust. At first, they won't trust you. They might give you the gig, but they don't necessarily trust you. You have to prove yourself. You know what I mean? You have to prove yourself. Yeah, truth be told, and a lot of them will probably even say, "No, I trusted." No, you didn't. No, you didn't. But you have to prove yourself. You have to show up and show out. And that's what we've always tried to do. You always have to come in there and make an impact, not just on the music, but your character is important. Your work ethic is important. It must be easy to work with you, which is something that's not popular to talk about anymore. You know what I mean? You must be very easy to work with. You must always be on time, always know your craft, always get better at your craft. You know what I mean? Like I'm saying, because your hands are the ones that determine what this music is going to sound like. If you don't get better, you're not getting worse. unfortunately, in music, there's no stagnance. You're not being, there's never, you're never, if you're not progressing, you're retrogressing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you're not getting better, you're sabotaging another person's literally life's work, you know? And so depending on the level that you're playing at, the stakes are higher. And so you just have to work harder.
Sure.
Yeah. And
Wait.
I think, yeah, sorry, and I think maybe to emphasize on that a bit more, especially looking into our journey now in artist management and production, right? How we look at it is when the client books us, when the client trusts us with their work, it's not just that, but they are trusting us with their bread and butter.
Yeah.
It's food on their table.
Yeah.
It's their kids' school fees. It's their, you know, so when I get that opportunity to do something for a client, I need to make sure that I'm mindful of the fact that it's not if I get on stage and say, for instance, I'm drunk, I'm ill prepared, I'm ill disciplined, and all this stuff, and I'm dressed all raggedy, you know, I'm not affecting just my reputation.
Yeah.
But whoever booked that artist won't want to book them anymore because they're going to be like, no, but you, and that's now bread off the table. You know what I
Sure.
mean? So
Sure.
you have to be mindful of that. That it's not
Always.
just you, and it's just that it's not just that artist as well, but it affects a lot
A
of
lot of
people that
hands.
aren't there physically.
Phew, yeah, no, guys, I got goosebumps just from hearing you guys say that because it's if you're thinking of yourself selfishly, that's exactly what you're going to do.
Yeah,
You are only going to appear
yeah,
in a selfish manner. But if you're thinking about it, how if you're thinking how think about the fact that you're a community. And it's also like
yeah,
to the point that you raised earlier on that it's not just about my generation, it's about those that are coming as well. So if you also
Right.
think about it
Right.
like that, then it makes it easier to appear responsibly and also to be accountable. So I truly, truly appreciate it. Guys, I could sit and listen to you the whole day. You guys are amazing. And again, I did say thank you when you guys played at our wedding, but I just want to make a public statement and say thank you
yeah.
for agreeing, you
That
know,
was so much fun. Eh?
agreeing. I think we said a mouthful. I think now, guys, let's just in closing, let's talk about what you guys like to do for fun other than music. And please don't say that's the only thing you do for fun. For fun in J, what do you guys, twins? What do twins do for fun?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, look. Okay. To be fair, our job is very fun. You
Okay.
know, we play for a living. You know, like we literally were in events, we're at Groove
For life.
for life. You know, we are at Groove for a living. But besides that, so one of the things I enjoy lately, which I used to I wasn't quite good at before, is not necessarily good at, but like I wasn't invested in, is reading. You know, especially after having kids, I've realized that I have to be a knowledgeable person in order to know what to deposit into them.
Yeah.
So I've grown to learn rather and enjoy reading. I take walks a lot. I'm on my phone a lot, right? I'm on my phone a lot, even though it's mostly for work, but like I enjoy that stuff as well. And basketball, like we are avid basketball fans.
Okay.
We wake up at 2 in the morning to watch a game, you know?
Right.
So follow basketball. And obviously like attending other people's events and all that stuff. That's also something that we usually do just as an extracurricular activity per se. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, well, for myself,
Yeah.
um, it's a lot of what you're saying. So we do share a lot of the same interests,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
But something that I think we tend to be, kind of different, with is I like hanging out with people,
Yeah.
especially lately. I like going and hanging out with people. I like going to like fries and chilling with people. You might find me at the cinema near you, just hanging out with the mommy. You know what I mean? You know, chilling at
With the mommy game.
with the mummy game, or you see me, at a restaurant near you, trying out some food. I love food,
Yeah,
so trying out some food. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it.
Sure.
You know, that's us.
Hmm.
But number one for me is the basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Then music, which one comes first? Music, basketball. Okay.
Honestly,
Fine.
and this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, a very unpopular opinion, right? But in terms of intake, basketball
Yeah.
kind of wins,
We consume
right?
a lot more basketball.
Yeah,
than
I consume a lot of
music.
like I've grown to not really like listening to music as
Okay.
much as I used to growing up,
Yeah.
right? So basketball has kind of taken over.
Hmm. Guys, if I had a crowd, would be clapping. Thank you so much, Sinethemba and Sia, for your time. I truly, truly appreciate
Thank
you
you for
guys.
having us.
Thank you.
Pleasure coming and pouring yourselves out to us. And I'm praying that it's going to reach the right people and that they will be encouraged. But most importantly, is it okay if they search you on the grams and all of that? And if they have questions, can they reach out to you on Facebook and stuff? So when your names or your handles, like on Facebook, you are Sinethemba Hlengetwa, you are Siyabonga Hlengetwa. It's not SK what.
No, none of that.
All right. No, I'll just leave the I'll just details, and if anybody wants to be in contact with you, they can. But again, thank you so much, guys. And I wish you all the best. May the Lord continue to shine his face upon every single thing that you do and in your lives, in your family.
Likewise.
All the best with the kids. Hey, it's crazy in that world. That's a separate all together, you know. All the best. May more doors.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thanks for having us. This was really exciting.
This was
Thank
great.
you.
I'm happy you enjoyed it, guys. All righty, I'll stop the recording.